The Handcar, a contraption commonly seen as a relic in this day and age full of advanced locomotives and other vehicles. In my experience, I'm guilty of this perception both in real life and in Derail Valley. I had my laughs after unlocking it and looking like an idiot while pushing the virtual handle down to use it in-game, but it seldom saw use after that. I may have called upon it once or twice if I didn't feel like abusing the teleport function to cross the map without spending money, but it mostly gathered dust in the void from which you spawn it. After running a slightly excessive battery of tests on a whim, I can say that I was a fool to do so, and you are as well if you shared my thoughts. If you seek enlightenment, allow me to explain. I might have put power in the title of this video, but don't get my words twisted. I was referring to the metaphorical measure of power. In terms of actual load capacity, the Handcar sucks as expected. However, the Handcar can indeed push, and has a few neat traits that make the idea of shunting cargo with it sound a little less insane. Despite that, you might go insane if you try it enough. Trust me, I took a few years off of my sanity because of how much I was exposed to the Handcar through testing it. With all this talk of sanity loss and exposure, maybe this thing is made of uranium. Just like uranium, experimenting with the Handcar was a pain in the ass. I had to research what combos of cargo and car types would give me the most precise method of measurement and if I would have to do a cross-map trek to bring them together. All that before the actual testing. I decided to start by whittling down some large numbers I knew probably wouldn't work, but also tackle some smaller loads to narrow down a number from two ends. To do this, I set up my first laboratory at Forest South because of its guaranteed access to a shunter as well as the cargo which can be found there. You see, my plan for this round of tests was to set some boundaries to narrow down. I didn't want to get too specific just yet. At Forest South, you can find staked flat cars and logs, which are some of the lightest and heaviest in their respective types. The cargo there would allow me to set loose limits to test within later. It was here where I established that 145,000 kilograms is too much, while 38,000 kilograms is a much more feasible, but still substantial amount. With this information, I began researching railcar and cargo combinations to find the lightest combinations possible. With lighter test subjects, I can use smaller increments to get a more accurate estimate of the Handcar's load capacity. Now, riddle me this. Where do you think you can find the most varied selection of cargo? If you've played this game enough, you know of the horror. Its name brings about curses and sends shivers up the spines of many. To make my research as quick as possible, an old enemy became my ally. I spammed the teleport buttons all the way across the map to the harbor. The vast labyrinth of track and cargo hid data instead of a metaphorical minotaur for once. Because I ripped off the band-aid and patched things up, I was able to eliminate numerous combos from the hit list. I still had to pull a JoJo Part 3 to look in places with rarer cargo, but the job was done promptly. At the end of the day, I found the following. The lightest possible cargo combination is the flat car at 11,000 kilograms, which is carrying tractors or an empty cargo container. I forgot about this, but certain shipping containers can actually spawn empty as a form of cargo themselves instead of being in railcar form. The distinction between this can be seen on their corresponding job contracts, where the jobs entail a freight haul as opposed to a logistical haul. It can also be found on the stat panels on the side of everything that moves in this game. The container is listed as the cargo, while the flat car is on railcar duty. Those tractors and empty containers weigh in at a record-holding meager 6,000 kilograms, but another close option lies in the cars carrying in the military bases, which carry 8,000 kilograms of whatever Sleepy Joe is hiding. Is it his delivery of Taco Bell? Cat grills? The T-virus? A cure for his dementia? Whatever it is, it's light as a feather in comparison to the 52,000 kilograms of spent nuclear fuel that can spawn right next to it. In case you're curious of what the heaviest cargo you can haul is, that would actually be the nuclear fuel with a grand total of 87,000 kilograms. This is actually a few grand lighter than your mom, and a single grand heavier than a 24,000 kilogram hopper filled with 62,000 kilograms of iron ore. If you were having trouble getting over the hill outside of the West Iron Mine, you know why. With all the nerdy stuff out of the way, we can get into the application of this. Let me be clear. Moving things with the Handcar is not a great option. My point here is that the Handcar is, big air quotes, viable. Here we see the Handcar's might in action, doing its best to push a shunter out of a service station while I was very desperate to save cash. It takes a while to accelerate, but it can actually build, more air quotes here, a decent amount of speed. Using elbow grease instead of diesel or steam is a lot of work, so one would assume that large monetary benefits await you, right? To test this, I ran a battery of tests that could rival Umbrella Corps, or a few episodes of Monsters Inside Me. The first of these was a purposely engineered common scenario. We all know the feeling of being fresh from a job and heading down to the service station to fill up on blinker fluid, and then immediately getting into place for more work. If you're in hard times and or partake in masochism, you can push stuff around with the handcar instead, thus saving money by having no spawn for your fuel consumption. On top of that, you could hypothetically make up a small portion of the time you lose through having no horsepower by being able to infinitely respawn the handcar wherever you want, whenever you want. No need to go out to a junction, all the way past the train, out to the opposite junction, then back to the stuff you were working with. In order to put my theory to the test, I ran a time trial at Machine Factory in town where you back up all the way into this service station, head forward to the outermost junction, back up into this cargo, couple to it, then run to the job validator and mimic putting a job in. To ensure that the results are as practical as possible, I made sure to behave normally during the trial. I did travel and couple up somewhat fast, but that's because I was playing so much Derail Valley that I wanted to get my little scientific trial over with. The first test was a normal run with the shunter to act as my control. After that, I performed the same run with the steam engine in DE6. Finally, I did a run where I shut the shunter off and pushed it around with the handcar. You may be saying, what about pushing the other locos with the handcar? To answer that question, here's one of my favorite clips of JonTron.
All right, I gotta leave, okay?
John, we just started. Come on, man.
Listen, there's a lot to see in this life. Not wasting it here.
Also, the bigger locos are too heavy, but I really wanted to include that clip somehow because it's hilarious. :3 cat face. I really did put that in my script, by the way. On my life, I deadass typed out :3 cat face read aloud. Please have mercy on me, for the Lord will not. Anyways, on top of noting the cost of operation for each run, I also clocked how long each run took. Oh, one more thing before I do the anime glasses thing. Trust me, I will get to how the handcar ties everything together. I'm just crunching numbers first. Anyways, the data I gathered is as follows. The solo shunter run costed $520.22 for a time of about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The solo steamer run costed $426.27 for a time of about 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Finally, the solo DE6 run costed $890.90 for a time of around 2 minutes and 31 seconds. To make sense of what I gathered, I'll be using a measurement of dollars per second obtained by converting the time to purely a number of seconds, then dividing the amount of money spent by that number. In order to eliminate human error from the mix, I'm going to use a time measure of 2 minutes and 31 seconds for every loco, since that is the average time found in my testing. After all results were rounded to the nearest hundredth, the shunter yielded a result of about 3.45, the steamer 2.82, ironic considering what type of engine it is, and the DE6 came out with 5.90. I know I'm spouting a bunch of gobbledygook, but this is important, I promise. With these numbers, we can do the necessary calculations required to give a numerical value to the worth of the handcar. Speaking of, it's about time I give you the juicy stuff. How did the handcar do? In terms of speed, it was complete shit as expected. With plenty of creaking and cursing, the handcar got a time of 14 minutes and 38 seconds. If you want to find out how long a trip would take if you use a handcar instead of a shunter, multiply the time in seconds by 5.82. You're welcome. However, speed isn't why I'm doing this. Despite the handcar being capable of decent speeds as mentioned earlier, we're really looking at the economical side of this. As we've discussed, getting the shunter into place by itself required $520.22 alongside 2 minutes and 30 seconds of your time. If we use the shunter's cost as a stand-in for handcar fuel in my equation, the handcar has a dollar per second of 0.59. God damn, this shit is economic as fuck. However cost-effective this strategy may be, there's still the issue of the sheer amount of extra time this will take. Think of the situation like going on a road trip and having to choose between a Prius and a 1968 Camaro Supersport. The Prius would be the smarter option, but the Camaro would get you there in a manner that is both faster and more fun. However, I would also say that the choice may occasionally be between that Camaro or a Lada Riva that was built in the Soviet Union, where both cars have their significance, even if it's through being significantly shit. I personally hope that you avoid 14-minute handcar trips for the sake of your sanity, but quick little shunts with some elbow grease could save you some money without taking too long. There is the argument of time is money, so basically just pick your poison. While on the topic of taking too long, know that I clocked the top speed of the handcar at 37 kilometers per hour or 22.99 miles per hour in freedom units. With that top speed, you can ram into cargo for a bit of a boost when moving something. I know you're screaming at your phone saying, that would damage the cargo. Fun fact, you're wrong. No, really. I made a handcar careen down a mountain into a train of iron ore, and it caused 0 damage to the cargo or itself. That's right, the handcar is immune to and immune to causing damage. On top of that, its limited top speed and low weight makes it difficult to derail. In the unlikely event you do get a handcar off the tracks, there's no fee for doing so. You don't have to pay for any damages, and you can infinitely respawn the handcar back to back for free, even if you already have one deployed. Now, the astute among you may have realized that I haven't actually given a load capacity for the handcar yet. After testing it out and forgetting to incorporate it into the script until now, I found the maximum load capacity for the handcar to be somewhere between 93,000 kilograms and 103,000 kilograms. I would narrow it down further, but there simply isn't anything lighter than 11,000 kilograms to use at an increment for measuring. Well, I feel like I've stretched this video out long enough, and I'm running out of stuff to say about the handcar. Use it if you feel like it, but be forewarned. Hell awaits you as it does for me when God gets his hands on my computer. Goodbye.
Motherfuckers, come on, motherfuckers, come on, motherfuckers, come on, motherfuckers.